Alright people, so I'm here with RANTAMANIA episode 24. So let's get right into it here. Here's the topics. 5 topics today. We got cricket, which I fucked up last RANTAMANIA episode. Guy asked me to do my thoughts on cricket. I did croquet instead, so I'm going to do cricket. Next one's whether racism is a factor in WWE misusing Kali or gender. People obsessed with the royal baby, my thoughts on Mayweather and Pacquiao, and also a rant with Neville in the King of the Ring tournament. So let's get started off first with the cricket thing. Again, I fucked up. So my thoughts on cricket are, I think it's just a rip-off of baseball, it seems. I don't know, maybe the baseball's a rip-off of cricket, but they're two similar sports. I don't know. I just don't like it. You know, they do the thing where they don't bend their arm when they throw the ball. You know, it looks all right, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm not gonna take time out of my day to watch fucking cricket. You know, or take time out of my day to invest my time in cricket to see if I even like it, because I don't have time for that, and I really don't care too much. Even sports I like, I don't put like that much time into it, because quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Things that matter more to me are like political issues, real events in the world. So, will cricket catch on in the U.S.? No, it won't. At least not right now, because you know the 4 main sports: basketball, baseball, hockey, football. They dominate here in the U.S. So, in any other sports, not even really close to, you know, really the market or the success of those 4 sports right there. I mean, maybe at times like soccer during the World Cup, it's more popular, but no, I mean, no sport is really going to come close to touching baseball, basketball, hockey, or football. You know. Next one is at Akil Gangsta, spelled AKEILGANGSTA. It's a Twitter name right there. Asked me to do whether racism was a factor in WWE misusing Kali or Jinder Mahal. You know, I don't think so, because look at Kali. Kali was fucking world champion. Right when he came in, they gave him the belt. So, and they kept him, and he couldn't. No, so they didn't misuse him. Yes, they did misuse him because they didn't get rid of him soon enough. I mean, Kali in his last few years, like or at least when I was watching him, he couldn't even fucking walk right. He was so fucking gumpy, it was ridiculous. So obviously racism wasn't a factor there. They held on to him for way too long. Should have fucking got rid of him a long time ago. So no, and you know, I don't think there's a racist factor here. You know, I don't think that Vince McMahon has a problem with Indian wrestlers. I mean, why would he have a problem with Indian wrestlers? You know, people from India. It's just a totally baseless claim here if you were to say this, because there's no evidence against it. And people might say, oh, there's no people from India in this company. Well, I mean, it's not like, you know, there's many people from India who wrestle. You know, so I don't, you know, I don't think that there's any, you know, claim that, you know, that Vince McMahon is racist or something like that against Indian people. It's stupid, I think, to say something like that without any evidence. Now, if it comes out, something comes up, there's evidence, alright, but I mean, there's no evidence, so. And you know, I think when it comes down to it, Vince wants to make the money, wants to make the big bucks, so I think that he's more concerned about making money than if, you know, like, what's the point of even having an issue with, I've never even heard of somebody hating somebody because they're from India. I mean, it's just, no, I do not think this is the fact here. And again, I mean, Kali was in the company for a while. He was world fucking champion, for crying out loud. I mean, there was obviously no racism with Kali. Jinder, you could maybe make an argument for, oh, there possibly could have been racism because he wasn't really that good. He wasn't given many opportunities, at least during the time I watched. So yeah. Next one here, at Jermaine Richa 16 on Twitter, asked me to do a video on people that are obsessed with the royal baby. Now, it was kind of not a huge story, but I mean, it was in the news quite a bit. Oh, the royal baby's born, whatever. And you know, I think it's fucking just overhyped garbage right here, where people obsess over, you know, a fucking baby. there's bigger issues going on in the world than a fucking baby being born. And you see, many people will only look at this story. You know, will be obsessed with this story. You know, with the royal baby or Kim Kardashian or shit like that. Well, they're bypassing so many interesting news stories. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. I have so many news stories that I've covered on this channel that are just mind-blowing. Like the one where Salon was actually saying it's, you know, rioting's a legitimate form of, you know, black people so-called protesting or looking for political change that's legitimate for them to riot. I mean, there's just so many mind-blowing articles out there that are so much more in-depth and interesting and exciting. I don't want to say exciting, but just revealing or than fucking a royal baby. I mean, people's minds, they have to expand their minds, look beyond basic shit like Justin Bieber, basketball, sports, and shit like that. They have to go further and look at what's actually going on in the world. And, you know, while it's great, you know, I love having, you know, it's always a cool thing to see a baby be born and life be created. It's truly an amazing thing. But we shouldn't be obsessing over just this one instance of the royal baby being born. Next one I want to talk about is the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Again, at Jermaine Richa 16 asked me to do this one. My thoughts on it are, you know, I'm not a big boxing fan, and I'm not too, you know, privy to the idea of, you know, like the UFC or boxing, like, oh, the sport is beating people. We're gonna beat up each other. I mean, it kind of sounds like a stupid concept to begin with. You know, I don't know. That's just me. You know, I don't get the point of beating people up. Oh, and whoever, you know, beats this person up wins. I mean, it just seems kind of stupid to me. You know, I mean, it can be exciting, but I mean, at the same time, when you look at it, I mean, it's two people beating up each other. I mean, it's kind of barbaric in my opinion. But I mean, with the Mayweather-Pacquiao thing, I mean, I heard it was like $100. I mean, who the fuck would pay $100? That's so fucking expensive. $100, and I heard the fight sucked too. I mean, no way I'm wasting $100 on that. And people, you know, yeah, they'll waste $100 on a fucking fight. How about you take that $100 that you wasted on a fight and go do something productive? Go buy healthy food. You know, people always say, oh, healthy food costs too much. No, it doesn't. Actually, healthy foods can be really cheap. Go buy some healthy food. Go, you know, actually spend it in a productive manner, not fucking on a fucking boxing match. So I think people, again, they need to pay less attention to fucking sports and more attention to what's actually happening in the world. Real events, political shit. And the last story I want to talk about here is the King of the Ring. Now, the King of the Ring, I didn't even fucking watch it. Why? Because, you know, why the fuck didn't they put it on TV? They got fucking, that's what I thought they did the 3 hours for. You have 3 fucking hours of television, you know, and you're not going to put it on TV. You know, it's just, and you might say, oh, well, they want to get people to buy the network. You know, if somebody hasn't bought the network by now, you know, I don't think they're going to fucking buy it. And if a fucking shitty-ass King of the Ring matches are going to, you know, I watched the first fucking match and it was boring. I was falling asleep. So I decided to not even watch the next two. You know, so, you know, I don't think a King of the Ring is going to attract people to buy the fucking network. Alright, they should just have had it on Raw. But no, instead you get fucking jobber matches like Fandango versus Adam Rose. Why don't they put that on the network? You know? But anyway, fucking Neville doesn't even win it. You know, like, why wouldn't they give Neville the King of the Ring? You know, he's a new guy, he could use it. Instead they give it to Barrett. I mean, while Barrett's got some talent, I mean, they've shown that they're not going to fucking push him. I mean, they did the Nexus thing. They had him with Cena. You know, Cena beat him. You know, so he didn't win anything. He's been Intercontinental Champion like fucking like 10,000 times. And the IC belt don't mean fucking shit. So he hasn't done anything. And he keeps getting injured too. I mean, that's the one thing. He seems prone to injuries. He's been injured, what, 2-3 times? Pretty serious. I'm not talking about, oh, he's out for a week or two. He's been out fucking injured for like 6 months, like 3 times in the last few years. So, you know, I don't get why they gave it to Barrett. I mean, they've shown they're not going to fucking push him. You know, why not give it to Neville? A new guy needs the win. But no, we're going to have Neville lose to Barrett. I mean, it kind of just seems stupid to me. So, I mean, I like the idea of them bringing the King of the Ring back. I mean, they had to do something to try to change it up. But it just didn't come through for me. I mean, they had people like R-Truth in there and Stardust. You know, it's like, I believe they had R-Truth versus Stardust. It's like, you know, can we actually have some, you know, real characters and gimmicks and wrestlers in here? But I was disappointed to see Neville lose, you know, and not win. But, I mean, whatever. Hopefully they'll do more to push Neville, but it just kind of pissed me off how they fucking just pushed Neville to the curb and made him lose. So, yeah. And actually, I'm going to add one more topic to this. I've recently heard the story about a toddler getting killed by some adult who apparently used the Undertaker's last ride on her. And, you know, again, this is pretty stupid for this father to do that, or whatever he was to the child. I mean, just stupid. You know, I get that, you know, a lot of times dads will mess around with their children, usually when they're older, not a toddler, you know, but it'll kind of, you know, just body slam them gently, or, you know, play around or whatever. But I mean, to be doing WWE moves on a toddler, I mean, it's kind of dangerous, and obviously it was, because it was killed. He was killed. Not it, but she. I shouldn't be referring to a human as it, but I mean, he or she was killed. So, I mean, it's definitely a shame, but none of the fault should be put on WWE, because, I mean, WWE is clearly scripted or fake, whichever word. I prefer to use the word scripted. It's not real. You know, they're not actually, you know, in a real fight, and that's pretty clear. You know, so it's like a fucking movie. In fucking movies, there's violence as well. Does that mean that in fucking video games there's violence as well? But does that mean when, you know, somebody goes out and kills people because they've played violent video games or watched violent movies, that the video game or the movie's at fault? No. The person's at fault. The crazy person's at fault. It's not WWE's fault that people are crazy. Alright? You know, do they have an obligation to come out and say, oh, this isn't real? I don't even think they do. Because movies fucking are supposed to be real life. You know, they're supposed to be realistic. Yet they don't say, oh, you know, there's fight, like Fast and Furious just came out. I didn't watch it, but there was probably a lot of violence in there and fighting and shit. They don't come out before the movie and say, this is fake, this isn't real, or whatever, this is scripted, and don't do anything in this movie. They don't fucking say that. I mean, they might put it in fine print, you know, they might flash a page, you know, in 5 seconds, and it might say a bunch of shit on it, and say, oh, do not attempt, or whatever the fuck. You know, but WWE actually does commercials where they say, you know, don't do this, don't try it at home. I think they kind of cut back on those, but the point is, it's not the company's fault. It's the person who did the fucking thing's fault. It's the adult's fault. And he's pretty idiotic, I think, for, you know, doing this. Or whatever he did. I mean, the last ride on a toddler, I mean, come on. How idiotic can you be to do it? I mean, I get like a little more older kid, you know, just messing around and shit, but I mean, a toddler, I'm assuming this baby was fucking like 2 or 3 years old. I mean, there's a fine line here, you know. I mean, I can understand if the child's like 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, messing around a little bit, you know, but I mean, younger, I mean, come on. It's like, you can't do that shit. So there you go, people. There's RANTAMANIA episode 24.